Hello and welcome back to Love It Film. My name is Jamie, and if you're here for Penny O'Brien, Molly O'Shea, Red Dead Redemption 2, you're in the right place. Now, here on Love It Film, we've interviewed Arthur Morgan, Dutch Van Der Linde, Roger Clark, Benjamin Byron Davis, Rob Wiethoff, Alex McKenna, Mick Mellamphy. The cast that game had are some of the nicest people I've never had the privilege of talking to, and they're always the best guest here on the show. Penny O'Brien, I just interviewed her there, and she is no exception. We talk about what it's like working for Rockstar Games, keeping that a secret from the whole world, what it's like having to pretend to walk through those snowy mountains in Red Dead 2. It's really interesting. If you're a fan of the game, stick around. Let's get into the interview. Penny O'Brien, thanks so much for coming on to Love It Film. Big fan of yours. I first heard your voice, you could say, and your actual physical acting in the video game Red Dead Redemption 2. But since then, we're researching you for this interview. You are a person of many hats. You're a very talented musician as well. I heard your performance of It Was Wolfborn, the song, on YouTube. You're a very good singer.
Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you. Thanks very much. Yeah.
How did you become an artist?
Such a good question. I think it's part in, my upbringing. I grew up in sort of the boony hills of Wicklow in Ireland, quite a bit far away from even a bus stop, no less.
That is
town.
true.
So I think just living kind of further away with a family that were all pretty musical, albeit a bit more on the straight and narrow in terms of career paths. I just had a lot of opportunity to sort of pick up instruments and watch movies and TV shows and be really inspired by it. And then, if the neighbors weren't around to play, I think imagination was the next best option. And I feel like I was youngest of four, and as they were kind of growing up and becoming teenagers, I just kind of never grew out of that imagination stage. And acting and music just sort of became how I interacted with the world, I suppose. And I feel like growing up, I was a lot of the time of kind of mumblecore film was becoming popular and more accessible in Ireland, and I would just really felt gravitated toward it, both the film aspect of it and the scoring and the music that was involved in it. I was thinking back even to way back in the day, Garden State, making the Shins a huge band, and I loved that sort of cohesiveness, I suppose. And it just felt like as I kind of aged up, I was I think that's what I have to do. So it was I think as I just was I think I'm just an artist. I don't know what else I could possibly do. So I had to just go for it,
Yeah, and natural calling. And for the folks watching, I'm from Ireland too, and I know in Ireland, if you want to get into the arts, whether it be music or you want to be an actor or you want to make movies, whatever it might be, it's different to the Ireland now. I mean, now we're winning best actor in the Oscars and stuff like that. But, you know what I mean? But growing up in Ireland, it wasn't like that. In a lot of places it still isn't. I mean, was that challenging for you when you were okay, I want to be an artist, whether it be in your acting or your music? Did you find that challenging?
I think a bit, yeah. I think there was a lot less of us on the big, silver screen or whatever. But I would just kind of throw myself into it, like school plays and musicals. And once I was, maybe a little less petrified, and I would play guitar out live at little local theaters and stuff like that. So I just kind of did what I could sort of satiate that urge and that feeling and that want. But I did then, of course, decide that New York was probably going to be the best bet if I actually wanted to have a career in it. And it was interesting because I remember seeing a play. My parents and sort of my community weren't that theatrically driven, but my mom one time as a birthday gift or something brought me to a Sam Beckett play, I think it was, and Fiona Shaw was in it. And I remember being hey, that's that woman from Harry Potter, or whatever. And I was I think there is a way. And even back then I was I suppose you could go about it by going through the Dublin theatre scene or maybe even heading to London or something. But I had this hankering for New York anyway, I think, having grown up in such a country style life that yeah, New York just felt like the calling. And I knew there was like a big Irish community and stuff out there as well. So that was sort of how I went about it initially. But I think the older I get now and the more that we're seeing the new kind of era of Ireland in media, the more I'm kind of like, it's kind of nice over there."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, going to New York from Wicklow is a bit of a baptism by fire, just in terms of a setting, I remember my first time going to New York, I was 23 and I was in shock. I was like, what the hell is this place? It's amazing. I mean, I
Yeah.
read while researching you, Penny, that you studied over there and then you sort of went into the acting scene and you were doing plays and stuff like that. I mean, how was that
Mhm.
initially? Was that a daunting thing to, start actually working on something over there?
I think a little bit, yeah. I remember I moved over when I was 18. I luckily had two other friends in kind of like the Wicklow, Dublin world also go to college in New York. So we kind of banded together and kept our little like clique alive. We all went to three different schools, which is interesting, but every couple of months we'd just be like, we need each other.
Yeah.
um, but I think what I found was college wasn't for me. I was kind of realizing that the University of New York was going to be a better version of life for me, just being out in the city. And I went from college to a conservatory where you get to just sort of act all day versus kind of being in this sort of studious regime and dorm rooms and stuff. And I think that made things a lot more approachable because the conservatory, you're with people of all ages, and all different periods of their life. Like someone that went to business school for 20 years or was working in finance decided, do you want to be an actor? And then me being like, I went to college for a year, I'm only 19. And I think that kind of made things also because you're taught by like people that are already maybe a bit more ingrained in theater or film, that they sort of offered a bridge to me that made it a little less impossible seeming. And I honestly just a bit of naivete as well, just being like, I'm gonna be a star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's how to do it though, that is how to do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
getting past just acting in plays and stuff like that. Like I read too that, you're doing your acting, your music, but you've made some short films as well and you've worked on many of them. I mean, for somebody starting making a short film, I'd assume that's a lot harder than you might think.
It's bizarre. I mean, I was usually kind of tangentially involved. Like I've never made one of my own personally, but
Okay.
would be like helping people along the way. And I'm as little as I'm kind of pursuing acting right now, like a really good friend who's an amazing writer director is about to make one. She's like, "Can you please be in the cast?" I was like, "All right, like I'm not gonna say no," because I think what it is people that are making shorts maybe don't quite yet have the foundation to get a whole feature film off the ground or whatever, but they still have the passion and the excitement for telling a story. And they're just really fun. I mean, oftentimes it's like you and a bunch of friends banding together to create this story on an approachable level. Um, and in a way where it's not going to take 3 years to be seen by even like a studio's eyes. You can be like, we made it, maybe we can get it streaming and people can enjoy it in just in a slightly quicker process, I think. And I just like they're just so fun. I feel like they're kind of like little mini summer camps where you go to a location or someone's house gets taken over for a weekend or a week or whatever it may be. But yeah, I mean, they're not easy to make either. Like funding for film is tricky and nobody really realizes how many favors you have to ask and how much camera equipment and C stands and all this nonsense you have to get and bring back. Like I suppose in my own way, making my music videos is sort of my version of creating my own short film because I had to just spearhead it and be like, I promise you all, like, I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to look good. Like, I trust the director. I trust my vision. I trust all you guys. Here's a bunch of cash. Like, let's go. Let's hope for the best. And I think oftentimes it comes out better, especially when you can delegate to people that you think are really talented.
Yeah, yeah, hugely, hugely. And, some music videos would rival some short films just in terms of natural storytelling too. I mean, I can, name 10 off the top of my head. But getting into, I know you're not pursuing acting as much now, but you could say that one of your performances is immortalized, with in a video game, which is, for people who don't know, a lot of our fan base, they love, the cast of Red Dead Redemption 2, and when we've had a lot of your co-stars on, like, I mean, Roger Clark, Benjamin Byron Davis, Alex McKenna, Mick Mellamphy, and, from what I heard from those guys is, it was like theater, full body theater. It was like full on, like that was not a voice acting gig. You guys were doing motion capture, which was every movement of you make in your performance is put into that game, which is just fascinating to me. Are you aware of like how big of a scope that still is to this day?
I think, yeah, aware and kind of surprised still. I mean, even jumping onto this and sort of preparing for it, I'm like, I can't believe that was 6 years ago. Was it 6 years ago when it
Six
released?
or seven, yeah, it's mental.
Yeah.
2018, crazy.
And there's just, yeah, there's still just like an outpouring of appreciation for it. And I mean, it blows my mind because I wouldn't be necessarily like a huge gamer myself, but I'm aware, like, I was aware of GTA and everything. And I think, yeah, I mean, it was of my acting career that like kind of dibbles in and out. Favorite role I've ever played. I mean, just the love that it brought and like the different way that we got to approach performance was so cool. I mean, like it really was. Yeah, it was like theater in the round without an audience. So the freedom you got, and I mean, I think that's why there was a lot of like unbelievably elevated performances that you don't necessarily see in live action sort of version, but it pretty much is it.
Yeah.
Just with an animation kind of glazed on top. Like I loved it because it was so physical, and as I said, like it's not necessarily just voice acting, which is it's a part of it. You have to. I mean, I kind of found a voice for Molly that's not quite the same as mine, a bit amplified, I suppose. But yeah, I think like the freedom it allowed to just be like, we're all in these ridiculous looking suits and we have these lines on a page and we're in a sound stage and we have to make it exciting. And I mean, Rod, the director, was incredible too. The guy that I most worked with mostly.
Rod Edge,
He was,
isn't it?
yeah, Rod Edge. Yeah, he was such a like pushing force. Like he was such an energy and such a lover of actors that I think that's sort of what led to us all just being like, let's go,
I mean, someone from the team was asking earlier, who wants to get into acting. They were like, "How do you even end up in a position where you get an audition for a video game like that? Because it's you could argue it's different to being in a movie or TV or something like that. It's a full on
Mm,
video game. It's a long job, Like I mean, from hearing from the co-stars, I mean, it's years in the making. How did you get the
yeah.
role?
I like step by step, and honestly, after graduating in that conservatory, I just cold emailed hundreds and hundreds of casting directors and agencies, and landed in an internship at a commercial casting agency. And from them, because they knew that I was an actor, they set me up with a commercial agent. Generally, like actors will have two types of agents, like a theatrical, commercial, and then sometimes separately voiceover. But my commercial agent, she was kind of like voiceover and commercials. Carol Ingber, she's an absolute star. Super old school, which I always loved. And yeah, I was just going out a lot for like, Colgate and PetSmart and all this stuff. And one day, and it happened to land on St. Patrick's Day, she was like, I've got kind of a funny one. There's a huge NDA. You have to sign something. And it's in Midtown, Manhattan. And I was like, that's not usually where like the commercials book out of. It's not usually where the studios are. But I went up, I saw a plethora of Irish female names in front of my name on the list, and I was like, what? What is this? Like, I don't know what this is for. And I go in, and it looks more like a theatrical space. And it was like one of the crazier auditions I've ever done. They were just like, berate your husband, run around, jump up and down. And I'd never auditioned for a video game before, so I had no idea what was going on. And I was like, all right, man, if that was like a toothpaste ad, I don't know what kind of ad that's gonna end up being. Um, but yeah, I got the call like a week later and she was like, okay, again, like bunch of papers to sign, and now that you've booked it, you're in a video game. So I didn't really like I had no training for it or anything other than just a theatrical and film background. Um But like for any young actors, I'd say like intern, meet people, like that's how you gain access to something which gives you access to something else, and you never know what comes from it. But yeah, I thought I was going in for, and particularly because it was on St. Patrick's Day, I was like, oh, it's just some like Irish
Irish
band.
leprechaun
Yeah,
type
I was
of
like,
something
maybe
like
it's
that. Yeah.
Jameson, I don't know.
Sorry for the interruption. If you are enjoying this video, why not leave a like, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications, rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Follow us on all our socials at Love It Film. Help us grow so we can keep giving you guys interviews like this or many of the other interviews. We've interviewed people from GTA, Red Dead Redemption 2, Fallout, Dexter, you name it. More coming right here on Love It Film. Yeah, I mean, when you do get the role and you start, filming the scenes, you have two other Irish actors there too, like with Roger Clark and Mick Mellamphy. I'd say that was kind of cool in a sense where it's like, how did the three Irish people end up here? Like me myself, if I was there, I'd be like, lads, this is a coincidence.
No, definitely. I think it was the first day I got into like the van to get out there, and I look in the back and I was like, Roger Clark, and he's like, oh yeah, he's like, we've met. And, like, I mean, I was only just new into the scene, and I think we just met at some like theater readings or something. And he was like, what are you doing here, Miss O'Brien? Kind of like, oh, here we are. And I was like, I don't know, like, what are we getting into? And he was like, ha ha ha, you'll see. Um, oh yeah. I mean, it was gas, and I think like it was kind of nice to have that because it was a bit intimidating in the first few phases of it for sure. And knowing that Raj was there, particularly given the size of his role, I was like, oh, so he's always going to be here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
did
then,
you enjoy doing scenes with Benjamin Byron Davis?
oh my gosh, yeah, like the man is a character, and I think we just got along so quickly. He could get along with a shoe, no doubt, but we really did just immediately have a good fondness for each other. So it was easy, and it was so fun. Those were some of my favorite times, honestly, just having to argue with Ben or pine after him or whine at him, basically. You know?
And in that video game, I know you're not a gamer yourself, but there's so many hidden dialogue scenes where there's full on scenes or performances, whether it be
Mm,
your character Molly, I mean, having an argument with Dutch, or Mick Mellamphy, Shawn,
yeah.
like while playing the game, you see all these hidden moments. I mean, is there anything perhaps that you filmed that you know of didn't end up in the final product?
It's tough. Yeah, it's hard to say because it was so long ago now. I
Yeah.
don't I don't think though that there was something that like I obviously didn't play a whole lot of the game because I'm not good at it, but
It's a
I went.
difficult game. Like if you're not a
Yeah,
gamer, it's kind of like trying to play guitar when you can't even play like the
yeah.
harmonica, you know?
I think I got to about 3%, and I was like, fair play to anyone who does this. But I watched the majority of the like people just kind of cutting them and putting them online of the scenes, and there was one that I think maybe me and Joe, um, who plays Karen. Is it Karen? Who did she play? Joe anyway, Joe Armanaugh, who I worked with a couple of times. And I wasn't sure if that one made it in, and then I think I might have been wronged later. I think it just hadn't been spliced on the internet, but I'd have to like double check. But as far as I know, no, I think they were pretty concise with everything that they were filming was going to end up in it. Yeah.
Wow. And your scenes too, they're so rich in terms of just content. Like those
Mm,
scenes were so powerful. Like I'm thinking back towards the end of the story when your character is revealed to be this traitor and she was ratting out the gang and stuff like that. That scene is very intense. It's raw. I mean, what was that like to film for you? I mean, did you guys have to do that a couple of times or?
oh yeah, we had to do that one a few times. I mean that scene, I think either overall or up until that point, it was the most amount of actors they'd had on the soundstage at one time. Which in itself is a quite a bit of a collaborative effort of being like, oh, like, this pack has fallen off, or don't bump in there, or make sure, that line is actually a tent, so don't walk into that. So there was a lot of coordinating to happen, all the while me being like, I have to rev up to this huge, huge moment. And at the time, we actually had a different actor than Ben because Ben was on a different project. So I was having to kind of like warm up and get used to working with the new actor too, which was interesting. I mean, Ben did an amazing job of like subbing back in. when he was back available. But yeah, I mean the nerves were high. The I'd probably only gotten the sides from the scene, the script a day or two before, and I was sort of upset because I knew this was probably going to be my last kind of day. And I'd say we did it 10 or 15 times total through.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was another time where Rod was just like, I'm not gonna let you go till you go there. Like he was like, I know there's a lot going on and there's a lot of like technical things that have to happen. He is like, but let's like let's keep going until you get it. And I remember being like really exhausted but really proud of the work. Like I walked into the green room afterwards and everyone was kind of respectfully quiet. And yeah, I mean it was one of my favorite things I've done, I'd say, in my lifetime in terms of like artistry, just managing to get past the hurdles of all the sort of technical difficulties and the amount of people watching me have to do something over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, all the other actors probably say the same about their respective scenes too, any of the kind of more heightened ones. Like it feels, and when you're in such a big production too, like that the pressure is real or
Pressure's
the
on.
stakes are high. Yeah. So I mean, I loved it. I enjoyed it. I think I like cried a little bit when I got home that night.
Uh,
But in a kind of like relieving, like, oh, that's what this is all about. Like you have to go there. Um, but yeah, it was super fun. And then having to like, you're getting shot by a shotgun, um, having to learn like the stunt of falling that way. I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if your character would have had to do this really, but from what I've heard from the other guys, they're always saying that crouch running was the worst thing on earth to ever do. Like, uh, it's like talking to him about like an old trauma or something. Roger would say he hates the crouch running. Did you have to do that as well?
I don't think I had to do that. I think I had to do just some of the like, oh, we're going through like snow driving forward sort of stuff.
How do
But no,
you
I didn't
fake
have
that as well? Is that just like
to. I
pretending you're
mean,
walking on the moon or?
truly, they would sometimes put weights on people. Like if they were kind of more like
Wow.
extras who hadn't like experienced the game yet, they'd be like, "Do you need like weighted feet or something on your leg to make you feel like it's heavy?" And I think like maybe in the first one or two times that I showed up to work on Molly, they were just like down a couple people or something. So I had to do like a as like some foreigner in the background, kind of like I'm up on a horse and carriage or whatever. And I remember being like, oh God, like how much do I bump and not bump? What's the
Yeah.
road? Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that game too. I mean, getting past like just the video game, the music in that game is some of the best I've heard in a long time from anything. As
Incredible.
a
Yeah.
musician, like, I mean, have you heard all of the songs like "That's the Way It Is" and "May I Stand Unshaken"? The songs from the video game.
A bunch of them, yeah, yeah. I mean, we did a convention a couple of years ago where I was performing and I brought a bandmate and we learned like one or two. I forget the titles of them now, but it did kind of get me into listening to. I mean, Woody Jackson is incredible. I mean, he's
Amazing.
notorious, like phenomenal guitar player and instrumentalist and artist. But yeah, I mean, it really, I think it made the game's kind of epicness a lot more epic. And
I
like,
have to find that footage of you doing the song from the convention. Did anyone film it or anything like that? Or
oh, I don't know. It's probably out there somewhere. If I can find it or get my hands on it, I'll send it your way. But I don't know if I mean I'm sure some of the fans that came by have video footage of it, but tough to say. Yeah, yeah. I'll see if I can get my hands on it. Yeah.
do I mean they're just such beautiful pieces of music. I mean, going away from the game for a minute too. I mean, you yourself, you are a musician, and that's what you do. Is there a song you've made that means the most to you? Because I read online you write songs as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say I'm primarily a songwriter. I just happen to be able to play the guitar a little bit, um, which helps. I think probably it's sort of probably one of the more fan favorite songs, Shirts and Hopes, which is one of the ones that I made the fun video for. I think seeing the journey of that song has made me pretty proud of where something can start and where it can go to. I mean, it was just like a janky little tiny guitar song, and then my producer Neil Woganson, kind of turned it into this sort of like vibey, still folk based bop, and and just we got like quite a bit of good feedback from that. So I think that in terms of like, oh, this is where things can go, is probably one of my favorite songs. And then um what's the other one? Oh, the song Mercedes, it's on my album. It's kind of a sleeper because it's pretty long and the tempo is pretty slow. But that was one that I remember. It was one of the first songs that when I was writing it, I didn't initially complete it. Like I didn't finish it in the first sit down. And generally, when I write, I'll just finish the song and it's kind of done. Maybe I'll make some tweaks. But that was one that I wrote like a lick for, came back to it like a year later, and came back to it 2 years later, and then brought it to my producer. And we kind of like made it into this sort of like epic thing that I wanted it to be in my head for so long, but was like, I need all this other stuff to happen for it to be that. And so that one's it's a fun one, and it's a bit of a callback to my mum's Mercedes back in Ireland that she had. It was a 1983 absolute piece with no air conditioning and no heating, so not great for Ireland.
That's typical Ireland. Nothing to control the temperature. You know, for people watching,
Truly,
we there's no AC in any of the houses still
I
to this
know.
day. Like, what's that about?
Weird.
You know, like music is one of those things that's so fascinating to me because, like, when it comes to like film and acting, like our page, we're Love It Film, we're you know, a page about acting, movies, and TV. But music is one of those things that is just a complete mystery to me. Like, it's so fascinating how you guys can think of something in your head, write it down, this beautiful sounding thing, you know, and it plays such a gigantic role in movies and TV. Is there maybe, say, a type of movie that you'd love to write a song for? Like, for example, like a Bond movie or something like that?
Oh my God, if I could get my hands on a Bond song, I mean, you just said it. Like, I mean, when it was Billie Eilish had hers and Adele had hers, and I was like, I could do better than that, or I could do something different and also as great. Um, that's a great one. I mean, I think there's like the sort of world of like indie film is like coming up now again. I feel like it's having a bit of a revitalization, and I think something like that new like what's his name? Lars. No, worst person in the world. What's his name? He just won for best foreign film. Um, just blanking on his name now, but he's a Norwegian director, and like a lot of his movies, although like now starting to star like more kind of Hollywood flavors of people, I'd love to have like a softer song in one of those kinds of films. Um, but Bond film all the way. I mean, if I can get an orchestra, I would love to. I mean, my producer's often like, "That's enough me like we have enough now," and I'm like, "Oh, what about like another cello, maybe a violin, maybe a trumpet, maybe let's get the harp in there."
Yeah.
So
That would be cool. That
yeah,
definitely be cool. Now, you know, I understand like you have other things to be doing as well, Penny. One thing I wanted to ask as well, we have one or two questions from the team that I promised that I would
of
ask.
course.
I'm just gonna get them up here. It's a Red Dead Redemption 2 question. Was
Yeah,
performing in the performance capture environment challenging in regards to full body theater? So, like, for example, was that harder than, say, just recording lines in the booth that you guys had to put on this suit every day and you had to do this big performance in front of a lot of people?
I mean, yeah. To be candid, it's like once you're suited up and you've done I'm almost forgetting what the name of it now, like pre-pose or whatever, where they basically you have to go through all these like
T pose
movements,
type.
everything. Yeah, but you do sort of like a pre um kind of anchoring of like your body with the one team, and then you go out on the sound stage. And once you finish that pre, you really can't like use the restroom or do anything funky with the suit or anything until you've wrapped your scene. So there's like funny moments like that of sort of just being like, oh, I'm kind of stuck in this suit now for the next like 4 to 5 hours. Unless like I'm gonna go bother that team and be like, we have to do it all over again, and then I think just there's something I mentioned earlier, pretty freeing about it, of being like there's not really a costume or anything that's like telling you how you have to be, which I think sometimes some more physical actors rely on is like a prop or fake nails or a necklace to grab onto or something, and not having that was kind of both a challenge and also kind of freeing. But yeah, the physicality element of it is just kind of fun. And there's just moments like, again, I was saying earlier where I'm walking around, I'm yelling at Dutch or something, and they're like, "Oh, Penny, sorry, just based on what we're looking at right now, you're standing in the campfire, you know."
That's so interesting because like anything else, even like in a play, you would see the physical
Yeah.
item. You know that's
Yeah.
mad. That's mad. I have another one here. So when you're doing scenes with like say Roger Clark or Mick Mellamphy or whoever, you guys are actually from Ireland. You know the vernacular of Ireland. You know the pronunciation of words. Was there any of the dialogue written by? I know the guys at Rockstar. A lot of them are like Scottish or from other places in the world.
Yeah.
But was there a piece of dialogue that you were being told to pronounce that was just not how an Irish person would pronounce a certain word or name?
As far as my lines went, nothing ever really stuck out. And if it did, I'd sort of maybe just be like, I think I'd probably say it this way. And they were pretty easy to be like, go ahead. Like, you've got a bit of creative freedom with that. I think there might have been one or two lines that Mick had to say that were a bit off for him, or he was like, that's not what a Cork man would say, or something. Um, but generally, honestly, I was like nervous enough that I was like, if it's seeming kind of like Anglified, I'd be like, well, that's just Molly's past story, you know. If maybe she came from a rich family in Dublin, like
Yeah, she's a West
I don't
Brit
want
or
to,
something. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I don't want to ruffle too many feathers, you know.
No, I get that.
Um, yeah, but as far as I remember, nothing too glaring, honestly. And they really would give us kind of Irishism freedom to sort of fumble the lines around if we needed to make them more ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. I have another one here. Just want to get all these asked so they won't be
Yeah.
mad at me later on. So when you were working for Rockstar Games, how did you find that experience? As in, was it a very, very secretive job to have? Because I know from hearing from the other guys too, you couldn't tell people that, yeah, I'm working on Red Dead Redemption 2. You were about to be like, oh, I'm doing, for example, Colgate or something.
Yeah, yeah. It was definitely challenging. I feel like phones were sort of the devil. It was sort of like even when you're around, you'd be tempted to sort of like get some snaps or whatever. And yeah, trying to explain to my parents, being like, I'm acting in something, you know, it's I think it's going to be pretty big. And they're like, well, what is it? And I was like, it's kind of like it's sort of just like an animated thing, and I'm playing kind of like a kind of crusty traveling nomad or whatever. So for the longest time, like my dad would be telling people that I was playing an Irish tramp in a cartoon. And I was like, that's close enough but far enough away. But yeah, I mean it's the the level of security and secrecy, I think, in things like this, because they are so huge and it's such an enormous media profile that they make you very aware of taking it seriously. And I mean it's tough probably to be that guy's job to say like, here, like, you guys can't enjoy this with anyone else. But the kind of creative sides of Rockstar, they were all phenomenal. Like, I loved working with them. They were great. Yeah.
Benny, this has been a fantastic conversation. First of all, it's so interesting just to hear about these types of things because, for me, in my perspective, like I'm just a fan of that game, you know, and like
Yeah.
although you guys are doing amazing performances, I don't think of Molly O'Shea as Penny O'Brien. You know, I'm thinking of this character. Same goes for Roger as Arthur Morgan, but that's because the performances you guys did was so phenomenal. So yeah, I'm a big fan, and thanks so much for coming on to Love It Film. This is such a interesting conversation.
Oh no, it's been so sweet, and thanks for having interest in all my hats. But yeah, truly, I mean, Red Dead was one of a kind experience, and like the friends that we have, and the friends like in different places as well who weren't maybe necessarily involved directly with the game. It's been continuously giving. So always happy to chat about it, and thanks for having me on.
Anytime. As well, for anybody watching, where can they find your music?
Oh, that's very sweet. Yeah, I'm streaming everywhere. My artist name is Greta, which is sort of descendant of Greta as my grandmother. But it's just Ogreta, and I have right now one album and one Christmas single out, which sounds a little chuggier than it is. Um, but yeah, anywhere, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, all those spots, and yeah, any support for the album is always welcomed and appreciated.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Penny. I appreciate you coming on. Nice to meet you. Thank you, Penny, for coming on to the show. It was phenomenal talking to you. It was really special, Chris. Once again, another Red Dead Redemption 2 guest. I mean, we were just at Dublin Comic Con and we got we got the opportunity to chat to Benjamin Byron Davis again, and he's just the nicest guy. He gave me some handshake. He was like, I really like what you guys are doing, and I was just
he pointed Jamie out from the crowd, which made Jamie feel nice and warm inside.
I was like,
no, that was a blast. Comic Con, like you might have seen our episode from 2 weeks ago. We had some highlights. We didn't go up to everyone in one of the cast.
We couldn't. That was I was devastated because I was gonna go to Rob Wiethoff, I was gonna go to Alex McKenna, and then Peter Blomquist. But what happened was we were shooting content, and that's the reason we were there. So we kept getting dragged away, and we only got the opportunity to talk to them.
If you ever go to any of these events, you would know as well that like they're only at these photo booths and these signing tables for a certain amount of time, and then they're at they're in the event room, for the panel. Which was also great, by the way. Saying it was Alex, it was Ben, it was Peter Boomquist,
and Rob as well,
and Rob. So no, it was just weird. It was weird to see them in person after.
And it's kind of worked that we didn't go up to everybody too, because we had them for like an hour here in an interview. There's so many fans who have never gotten the opportunity. So
it's only used to be ones to go up to Benjamin, especially just because he's kind of supported us as well since we've had him on. He's very he's very supportive of our content and our podcast.
Oh yeah.
So,
and anyone who has made it this far in the video, if there's any of the Red Dead actors you'd like to see us chatting to again, write down in the comments and we may reach out.
Yeah, or even just other video game actors. We're trying to we're kind of going in between film and television, but we're not ruling out having more video game guys on the show.
Yeah, they're all actors, and it's always interesting talking to them. In other news of what's going on, Disney invited us to the Ready or Not 2 premiere this week. Chris wasn't around because he was busy doing a shoot, but I was here and I got to go see the movie. Now, that movie was very good, man. It was really cool. It had Elijah Wood, what's her name? Sarah Michelle Gellar, Daphne from Scooby-Doo. Lots of actors in it, and it was one of those movies where you could switch you off and be like, this is ridiculous, but I love it all the same. Yeah, if you haven't seen that movie, do check it out. Have you seen anything recently?
No, I haven't seen anything recently. I'm looking to go see Project Hail Mary a bit late to that this week, hopefully. And
I hear it's good.
Nice IMAX screen. It's been getting a lot of good reviews. We just had the Oscars, by the way, which we missed.
Yeah. No, you missed. I was up late. I watched it on.
No, we missed as in to actually talk about on the page. We have our best lead, Michael B. Jordan.
Man, I was so happy he won. Jessie Buckley, best actor.
I think it was
best actress.
I was overall pretty happy with that night. Like, what? Like, do you think anyone was snubbed, or do you think?
No, not really. I mean, for me personally, like, I don't care about the Oscars. I think it's just awards for, people I don't really have anything to do with. I mean, the only thing I cared about was Michael B. Jordan winning because he deserved it. Sinners, I saw it again in the Stella Theatre Ram Mines here in Dublin. For those of you not from Ireland, it's a very fancy cinema, like these really nice chairs, lamps, you can order food to your chair. And it was a really special way to watch the movie. And it just reminded me, not just how good Sinners was, but how good Michael B. Jordan was. Yeah. He played two different people. And depending on what part of the scene you're on, you forget that that's the same man doing those performances. He deserved it. I was very happy with that.
Incredible. It's very funny to see Timothée Chalamet's,
Luke Manley was there, another person we interviewed.
You look great, Luke. That was quite ironic, right? You got Marty Supreme. Marty Supreme's all about you've seen, of course, you've interviewed Luke. It's all about trying to get to the top, and then at the end, spoilers for Marty Supreme, he doesn't really, it's it's not really a thing he wins, and it's like, did that kind of foreshadow?
Yeah, I know.
Did the ballet and opera comments?
Man, it was just.
Apparently, that was though before the votes. The votes were already cast by the time, and he made those comments. And then he's also talked about how much he hates ballet and opera. And I think I've seen a video about this actually. I think it was Carl that sent it in. Basically, him and Tom Holland auditioned for Spider-Man. And both of them
And that's why he didn't get
so
Spider-Man.
Tom basically got the role
Yeah.
because of his background in opera and ballet. And obviously, look, Timothy has done really
Oh,
well.
man, what you just mentioned. Sorry for the noise on the mic. Spider-Man, Brand New Day, the trailer now.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Destin Michael Crenton. Is that his name? Destin Michael...
You talking about the director?
Yeah, I forget. He directed...
Shang-Chi director, yeah.
He's it, man. The visuals, the colors, like straight away, the first thing I noticed was the color. When Peter was hanging on that piece of steel and then he jumps down and he's just like, we have that shot in the mask. The colors are so realistic. I've been to New York, and that's how it looks. Like, you look at the end of Far From Home when Peter's swinging and he's throwing his iPhone around and he's texting. New York doesn't look like that.
What's the more accurate representation there, or did you ever play Grand Theft Auto, what was it, Liberty City?
Liberty City's
Does it look, I assume it looks like
it does feel
it
does.
Time of year.
And some of the VFX artists from TASM 2 are on Brand New Day. Straight away, they're swinging in that.
I noticed that. It literally looked like the shot from the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
the car chase. Obviously, where he's chasing after Paul Dano was it was a rhino or no, that was just a truck.
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I think
it looks so good.
You go into it and it's actually our first time talking. We didn't talk about it. Yeah, it looks tonally different. Like, straight away. Like, obviously that you can do that with colors. You can do that with obviously music. And do that like it's
his suit is not CGI.
Yeah, like you could tell it's obviously more grounded. Do you notice? Like, I watched a reaction video. It's one of these out there. And it's like Tom Holland actually never really had a battle in New York City, bar the fact in Infinity War he was chasing the alien guy around. This is like his first time he's actually fighting in New York City, which is kind of funny. He's not on a spaceship, he's not on a planet, which is actually London, was it, or somewhere? Glasgow. Yeah, he was. They actually shot in Glasgow. Yeah, but yeah, no, it looks incredible. Like,
one thing that is annoying me though is, on like TikTok and Instagram, a lot of people are making fun of John Watts and be really mean, like, oh, John Watts could never have a CGI or a non-CGI suit. John Watts could never have someone swinging without it being CG. And I get what they're saying, as in a lot of the Tom Holland trilogy, there was a lot of like, oh, that didn't have to be CGI. Yeah. Why is this suit always CGI? But at the same time, that is a guy, that's an actual person that people are picking on for no reason. Like, he did make some good movies. Like, No Way Home is really, really good. Like, he brought Toby and Andrew back. It's not right to be picking on someone that way. Yeah, that's how I feel. I think it's very mean to be.
Yeah, they weren't they weren't my Spider-Man movies, but
you shouldn't be picking on the guy. That's all I'm saying.
It is a bit like hypocritical though, because these people were kind of praising those movies as they were coming out.
Yeah,
maybe there could be just some kids that have gone older now, and they're like, oh. Yeah. That was crap. No, I think they were like they literally, as John Watts put it, they were like the Breakfast Club of Spider-Man movies, where it's literally just comedy. Like, it's very comedy. It's like friendships focused. This is obviously, Shang-Chi was great, by the way, so high faith in this.
I love that movie.
This is like, you see Spider-Man washing his Spider-Man suit, classic Spider-Man.
It looks so good,
kind of thing there, and like,
it's just the right direction.
Yeah, like, I know the fight scenes in this are going to be great. Shang-Chi fight scenes were just so.
Oh, nice. What's your man? What's the guy who's playing Scorpion again? What's his Michael Mando? Is that his name? He was in Better Call Saul, one of the best actors in Better Call Saul. His monologue to, I think it was Hector Salamanca, I can't remember. I just know it was a monologue. Were amazing.
Overall, though, yeah, like, it is something fresh for Tom Holland. They still have to have an Avenger in the movie, though. They still need to have Bruce Banner as a part of their Sony deal.
Well, look, they're doing Man Spider, and anyone who thinks they're not doing Man Spider doesn't know they're Spider-Man.
Well, people are saying it's like this other Spider-Man villain that's like possesses. I don't know what its name is. I am not that deep into it.
They're wrong.
Do you think Tom will keep the organic webs after this?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is a way that they're going to keep the organic webs. It's a smart way of doing it, because obviously they noticed after No Way Home, they're like, oh, Toby's kind of cooler, isn't he?
And did you notice that the Brazilian trailer didn't have web shooters?
No, I didn't watch the Brazilian.
There are so many shots in the trailer where he doesn't have web shooters. There's that shot where he's kind of like this, and he gets pulled by his webs. There's no web shooter.
Like with No Way Home with the missing CGI, the Brazilian trailer is missing web shooters.
There's also a nice shot at the end of the trailer that is mimicking this shot from No Way Home. Where there's three people jumping at.
Yeah, people are saying it's either going to be like Hulk or John Bernthal's Punisher. But Tom Holland said, Daredevil. Tom Holland has said in his newest interview only a few days ago that his favorite part of the movie is Frank Castle and Peter Parker's Spider-Man and Frank's relationship. That makes me think John Bernthal has a much bigger role in the movie than we might think.
I think, yeah.
He described it like he acts as the big brother to Spider-Man.
What I'm really hoping is that, he, goes and hunts for him as he turns into Man Spider, like in the 90s. Series.
How
so
cool
funny.
is that?
And then
Let me tell you something, Spider Red.
You take that, Spider Red. Speaking of John Bernthal, I'm so happy to see that he has a special now coming out. Punisher one.
It's gonna be really fun. Every week from now we have new Daredevil Born Again. It came out today, but we haven't gone to watch it yet. We will. But after Born Again is done, after the week after the finale of Born Again season 2 is Punisher special. So that's a lot of fun for the next couple of weeks as a fan. So
look, stepping out of Marvel for a second. Last bit of news that came out today. Well, yeah, it was literally this morning. I seen it. New Lord of the Rings movie in Norway has been announced. So we knew about The Hunt for Gollum is coming out, which is like set before the Lord of the Rings, but after the Hobbit, right? It's when Gollum's hunting for it has the ring, and they're all hunting for Gollum. So there's now a new one that's being announced with Stephen Colbert, the host of the late night or Saturday. Let me just pull up and make sure my
he's a big Lord of the Rings fan.
Yeah, so it's basically set. I think it's set after. It's after the main trilogy, I think.
I'd prefer that. I think that's more interesting. Like there's like Frodo's very young at the end of Return of the King, and so is Sam and Pip and Mary. So it's like they can really go anywhere with it. So I hope they do that.
Yeah. So
Sam.
Peter Jackson opened up with an announcement. Saying The Hunt for Gollum is set to release in 2027, and then there's a next one. The Lord of the Rings Shadows of the Past, which will have the Late Show host Stephen Colbert. Very random.
Stephen Colbert is a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and he's had Peter Jackson on his show loads, so I'm not surprised. And the two of those guys are huge Beatles guys together. They're like friends. Yeah. So
I wonder what that's going to be, because like I'm definitely down pursuing any type of more new Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But I do also would be cool to see what the story after the main movies. If I'm getting my facts straight there, I think it's a new one. But guys, we're gonna wrap it up there. We've been just blabbing around because we actually haven't had one of these outros for in a few weeks.
No, we there might be
stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Passion, so.
That's it really, and big thanks to Penny O'Brien again for coming on to the show this week, and it was amazing talking to her. And for you guys watching, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. I believe 96% of you guys who watch the videos aren't subscribed, so it really helps us make these videos, continue to make them, get more amazing guests.
So there's a lot of new exciting projects coming out this year. So much. Spider-Man, the Avengers.
Yeah.
We've a ton.
Odyssey.
Yeah, the Odyssey, that's literally probably the most anticipated one. If there's any guests that you want on the show, just leave a comment below. Obviously, we're probably not going to get Tom Holland on tomorrow, but if there's anyone particularly you want to see who you think deserves the spotlight on the show, let us know down below.
All right, we'll see you next week.